Hi guys, this is tabletnews.com and I'm here with a tablet called Xiaomi Mi Pad. This one is a 7.9-inch slate with the Tegra K1 processor inside. It was launched in stores on July 1st, 2014 and it managed to sell 50,000 units in less than 4 minutes. Well, the price tag in China for the Xiaomi Mi Pad is $240. We got this tablet from the xiaomishop.it from Italy that distributes this product all over Europe. It arrived to us in 8 days and we spent about 300 euros for it, the 16GB version, plus an extra 14 euros for the delivery, as I said, all over Europe. You can also find this product at xiaomishop.com for $339. By the way, at the time we're performing this review, the 64GB version has been available for a day or two. Now let's discuss the design of the Mi Pad. So we got the typical iPad mini format here. However, this time we have a case that reminds me more of the iPhone 5C. It's polycarbonate, it's glossy and a bit slippery, but you can use a special case to not let it slip from your hand. As you can see, we're playing with the white version here, but the tablet also comes in blue, green, yellow, pink and gray. The thickness is 8.5 millimeters for this slate and it weighs 360 grams, which means it's about 30 grams heavier than the iPad mini Retina. The rest of the sizes are similar. I'm talking about length, I'm talking about width, so it's pretty much the same as the iPad mini in terms of size. It feels pretty solid, it has a good build, it also sits well in the user's hand. We also have some pretty big bezels by current standards, but they don't bother me. Up front, as you can see, we got the 3 capacitive buttons below the display. We also have a front camera right here, the Mi logo here at the top, the Xiaomi typical logo right here in the corner, and we also have a notification light here in this area. By the way, the capacitive buttons are more stylish than other ones seen on other Android devices. Now moving on at the back, we got the main camera, microphone hole underneath it, another microphone hole here, and yet again a bunch of logos, plus the 2 speakers at the bottom. At the top we find the audio jack and that's it, while at the bottom we have the micro USB port used to charge up the device. On the right side we find the on-off button and the volume buttons. They're comfy, they have good feedback when you're pressing them. And now on the left side we have the micro SD card slot with a special tray that can be removed with a small metal key. Okay, the back is treated with an anti-fingerprint coating as far as I know. The front, well, it may draw some fingerprints, I'll give you that much. Overall the design is okay. It doesn't quite stand out of the crowd of the many iPad mini clones, but I wouldn't exactly call it a clone because it's so stylish. Now on the hardware side, well, we have a 7.9 screen. 7.9-inch screen. It's an IPS LCD with a pretty big resolution, 2048 over 1536 pixels, which means 326 ppi, which is a very good density. We also have one glass solution here integrated, and you can use the tablet screen with gloves. The CPU inside this model, this one is NVIDIA Tegra K1. It's a quad-core 2.2 GHz chipset, and we also have the Kepler GPU with 192 cores ready to do some gaming. As far as the RAM is concerned, we have 2 GB of RAM LPDDR3, and the tablet comes in 2 storage versions, 16 GB of storage or 64 GB of storage. Plus, you can add up to 128 GB more via the microSD card slot. Other specs include an 8-megapixel Sony sensor camera at the back here, and up front we have a 5-megapixel shooter that's actually quite good for selfies, while on the connectivity side you should know that this tablet comes with Wi-Fi Direct, Bluetooth 4.0, there's no GPS and there is no LTE or 3G version of the slate for now. In the section we like to call and others, we can find the gyroscope, we have a light sensor, proximity sensor and a compass. The battery we're dealing with here is a lithium-ion unit. Be careful, some sites claim it's lithium polymer, so it's either lithium ion or lithium polymer. 6700 mAh. On paper it should provide us with 86 hours of music, and let's see how it did in our test. We usually test batteries by looping a video sample, HD video sample with brightness of 50% and Wi-Fi on, and we achieved a pretty impressive 10 hours of HD video playback time, which is very good compared to the iPad mini Retina that also got 10 hours in our test, and we actually beat a popular Android model from last year, the LG G Pad 8.3, that got only 7 hours and 40 minutes. So we're doing very well for an Android tablet with a pretty good price of about 300 euros. The charging time is 2 hours and a half, which is also okay, and the charging time of the iPad mini Retina was 3 hours and 40 minutes, so I would say we're doing very fine. Now in the settings area, you're probably expecting some power saving. You won't exactly get that, so let's find the battery. Here we go, battery use, showing you what the usage pattern is, battery indicator with 3 options, and finally power settings. We got high performance mode, balance mode, and battery saving mode. The later one is probably more useful when you're running out of battery. Okay, this is it. As I said, very good battery, 10 hours of HD video playback. I'm pleased with that. And now let's have a listen for the speakers here at the bottom and prepare to be pretty impressed. So we have the music app from MIUI. We start off with a bit of a store. It has an online section recommending you the latest tunes from China, and My Music that features a collection of tunes that we have available on our device. Okay, so let's listen to one of them. Okay, now let's draw some conclusions. First of all, I like the interface of the MIUI player, very minimalistic, and if you thought that HTC Sense was minimalistic, well, this is even more minimalistic. I find the speakers to be loud, very loud actually for a small tablet, to be clear, and I mean the sound, and very good bass. It's totally louder than iPad mini, I'll give it that much, and louder than iPad mini Retina. It's possibly the best speaker on a small screen tablet right now. We don't have an equalizer, we have very good audio, the sound is crisp, is warm, and we also have some decibel measurements for you. This is our decibel meter, and when the tablet is facing us with the speaker, we got 84.2 decibels. When the tablet isn't facing us, but rather facing the table, 83.3 decibels, which is very okay. For example, a flagship like the LG G3 gets 87 decibels, so I would say we're sitting pretty well. The tablet is loud, and these were the tests we performed here at tabletnews.com. Now on the video side of things, we have a 7.9-inch screen, IPS LCD 2048 over 1536, and we have some video samples to show you. Just like the music player, you're shown some Asian content, stuff online, movies, videos, and all that. And now let's play the test video that we rely on during our usual reviews. Okay, so let's go back a bit. Also a minimalistic experience here. So this video player looks pretty nice, and the screen offers vivid colors, wide viewing angles, as usual for an IPS, without degradation, and it's also a pretty bright screen. The image is crisp. We get glove use, so you have glove, you can use the screen with no problem, one glass solution, and RGB striped pixels. We also appreciated the high resolution of the screen, and I was surprised to see that it actually behaves pretty nicely when exposed to full sunlight. And we also have some other measurements related to the screen. As I said, RGB striped pixels, this is the microscope we used on the tablet, and we achieved a level of 310 lux units, which may seem impressive at first, but when you compare it to other tablets, it's not so impressive. The Nexus 7 from 2013, for example, got 500 lux. The iPad mini Retina 412 lux, but at least we beat the LG G Pad 8.3 and it's 260 lux units. Overall, the screen could be a little bit brighter. I would advise you not to use the screen with anything less than maximum brightness because it would seem a bit dark. You won't feel the lack of brightness shown by the lux level from earlier, luckily. And as I said, a very good display, could have been a bit brighter. And now let's discuss the camera. So we have a CMOS Sony 8 megapixel sensor at the back, and the front 5 megapixel camera has an f2.0 aperture. As expected, probably just like the rest of the multimedia apps, we have a very minimalistic interface in the camera, even more minimalistic than the latest iPad interface in iOS 7, soon to be iOS 8. Okay, so the zoom is not very fast, and the touch focus, and the picture taking is actually pretty fast. Now let's discuss this interface. On the left side we have a shortcut to the front camera. We also have these options like audio off and skin, so if you're taking a picture of a person, you can eliminate his or her wrinkles and other imperfections by using that option. Then a bunch of filters, a lot of them actually. We have sketch, we have yesteryear, we have vivid, mono, normal, we have blur, fisheye, and mosaic. We have dawn, 1970s, Japanese, X-Prol, autumn, indigo, mirror, and those are all of them, but I will stick to normal for now. As I said earlier, picture taking is fast, however the focus sometimes takes a pretty long while. If you zoom in, you could go for about 4x and the image remains pretty crisp even at this type of zoom, so that's actually pretty nifty. And let's see what else. When you're filming, you can film in 1080p at 30 frames per second with both the front and the back camera. Okay, now let's actually take a picture of this castle. Very fast picture taking, as I said. Now let's see the two samples. Once again, we have a Sony 8 megapixel camera. I would say it looks pretty nice, good level of detail, decent brightness. Here we go again. Pretty good picture, especially for a tablet's camera. Now I want to show you the gallery, so you can actually see more pictures taken with this tablet. We have a lot of them, as usual, about 90 of them. Okay, so let's see this one. Some of them are out of focus, as you'll see, because the camera simply could not focus fast enough, like this one, rather blurry, because it couldn't manage to focus on time. The colors are good, images are crisp, the colors are realistic, pictures are bright, we have good white balance. It has a very fast face detection, in case you need that, and that was a pretty nice sample of a flower shot, almost a macro. Colors are realistic, as I said. Sometimes you lose focus, and it's about on the same level as the camera on the iPad mini. I wouldn't say it's better, I wouldn't say it's worse, at least in the compartment of photo taking. As you can see, all the details are there, the colors are realistic, and the brightness is good. Well, the filming is the weak spot here. In spite of the fact we film in MP4, it's very easy to lose focus, sadly, but at least the colors are okay. And sadly you will lose a lot of quality when zooming in, and the image doesn't exactly seem very crisp, especially compared to the photos. There's focus loss, and I would say that the video capture is below the iPads, the iPad minis, and also below the Nexus 7 from last year. Overall, the quality of the picture and video taking is okay for a tablet, but I was expecting a bit more from the filming, especially consider how good the photo taking is. At least the white balance changes nicely, and let's try one more sample before we go. Maybe this one. Obviously you can also see them on YouTube once our review will be done, and we also tried a bit of a selfie or two. This one here, taken with the front camera, everything is crisp, it's okay, it's nice, it's bright. We used some effects on other shots. I would say I'm also happy with the selfie camera. It detected my face immediately, and there's even some beautification options. And speaking of editing and things like that, if you want to edit a picture, you just have to tap this button here, and we got the usual options like rotate, flip, straighten, fisheye. You can even doodle on it if you want. And then come the other options, the bigger ones: sharpen, highlights, contrast, saturation, hue, then some filters, and then a bunch of frames to frame your photo. This is it. As I said, pretty good picture taking, on par with the iPad minis. However, when it comes to video taking, for some reason it loses focus, it's not very crisp and not very impressive. Well, at least it films in MP4 and not 3GP. Now, another piece of bad news, the fact that the temperature may get a bit high when playing with this tablet, and I do mean playing. In some more intensive games with high-end graphics, you can achieve 45.7 degrees Celsius, which means the tablet tends to overheat just a little bit. And now let's get to other aspects of this tablet. Let's discuss, for example, the web browser. So this is it, the web browser that comes pre-installed on the tablet, and this is the virtual keyboard that's actually pretty comfy. The web browser is fast. The screen looks magnificent with this high resolution. You don't even need to zoom in to read the text of our website. And there's a pretty cute way of displaying tabs, like this. As I said, pretty nice, fast scrolling, fast pinch to zoom, and to top it all, a very comfy virtual keyboard, very easy to use and type on. Okay, we move further to the very important area of the benchmarks. You're probably expecting a lot from this tablet, seeing how it has one of the most powerful processors in the world on a mobile device. As you probably know from our article on tabletnews.com, we did a slight recap of the benchmarks, and Quadrant wasn't compatible with this model. As you know, the Tegra processors are picky and they don't like all the apps in the Play Store. So we have Antutu here. I decided to compare this tablet with the best tablets and processors around. I compared it to the iPad mini Retina and the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro 12.2. I know it's not in the same screen category, but it has a potent Exynos 5-octa CPU, and Apple tablet has a 64-bit Apple A7 CPU. So let's start. We have Antutu, 39,353 points. We're beating the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 by about 5,000 points. In Nanomark, we scored 59.6 frames per second, got beaten by the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 by about 0.3 frames per second, so it's about the same score. In the latest Velamo, we scored 2,977. We beat the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 by about 1,200 points. In the multi-core test, we got 2,300 points. It's a new test in beta and it's looking hot. As you can see, we've even beaten the Galaxy S5 by about 1,000 points, or should I say less than 1,000 points, about 700 points. Okay, in metal we got 1665. We move further and we go to the enormous score of 3D Mark, 25,321, probably the highest score I've ever reached in this benchmark. The iPad mini Retina scores 14k points here, so we almost doubled its points, and the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 scores 12,784 points, so we beat all of them pretty easily. Geekbench 3 didn't work, but at least GFX did, and in the T-Rex test, in the off-screen test, we achieved 47.7 frames per second, while the iPad mini Retina achieves 26 and the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 achieves 22.9, so we beat them by a huge margin. Speed test did not work as usual, and neither did BrowserMark 2.0, so we tried Speed Checker. That gave us 22 MB/s in download and 6 MB/s in upload and a pretty huge ping. I don't rely on this app very much. I'm used to Speed Test rather than this one. For comparison's sake, the iPad mini Retina scores 19 MB/s in download, so we beat it, while the Galaxy Note Pro scores 24 MB/s in download, so it beat us. Finally, SunSpider, 594.2 ms, the lower the better. We got beaten by the iPad mini Retina, who is in the 400 mark, so it beat us by quite a bit. We even got beaten by the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 and it's 531 points. Overall, if you draw a line, you'll see that this model beats the iPad mini Retina and the Galaxy Note Pro 12.2 in more benchmarks than it gets beaten, so I would say that were doing pretty well in the tests, of course, aside from those that don't work. As I said, the Tegra K1 is picky and not all the apps and games work on it. The time it takes for you to shut down the tablet, well, it's 15 seconds, and the boot time for the Mi Pad, it's 29 seconds. It's a bit higher than the iPad mini Retinas, 20 seconds. The operating system here is Android 4.4.2 with MIUI on top. As far as I know, it's MIUI version 5, should be an update soon. So Android 4.4.2 with MIUI on top. It's a very clear and clean interface. We don't have a separate app zone, in case you're wondering. All the apps are on the home screens, and in order to unlock the tablet, you have to swipe up. That's only one of the aspects of its functioning. Okay, the widgets are placed on a separate home screen, so we have apps here, widgets here, and widgets here. You can place them like this, and if you pinch, you'll see the widget options that you can place here. Some of them have sub options like this one with various sizes, clock sizes, gallery sizes, and some of them sadly don't work. As you can see, the task manager widget doesn't seem to work. It seems pending, and neither does the gallery one, so some of them don't work. If you also pinch the app home screen area, you'll see options like move apps, add widgets, and here by widget it means actually toggles, and setting shortcuts, plus a cleaner and contacts. So separate home screens for widgets, separate home screens for apps. We can also change wallpaper from this section, and you can also change the effects: crossfade, tumble, page, cascade, rotate, and cube. Okay, now in the dock area, as you can see, we have four main apps: gallery, video, music, and browser. Of course, you can change them if you want. You can add another one here, you can move one from here, and if you drag and drop one item to the next, it will create a folder. If you go to the drop down area, we find the notification area in the main screen. We swipe to the right and we find the toggles. We got airplane, Bluetooth, screenshot, rotation, vibrate, ring, Wi-Fi, auto brightness, disable, lock, reboot, and more. If you tap the screenshot button, you'll take a screenshot, and that's the only way you can do it. I tried the usual combo with the on-off button and the volume button. Guess what? It didn't work. This area, just like the entire interface, is very minimalistic and it's very easy to use, and it gives us quick access to the settings area. Yet again, minimalistic. It's very clean, it's very iPad-like, I have to say it. It's filled with options, but not so many as on iOS, where you can easily get lost among them. So let's see what options we have here. We have options for the notification area. You can change its layout from bar or to page. You can also show the connection speed, which I find to be an interesting feature and a new one. You can manage notifications from here for each app, additional settings as well, and let's see what other options we have here. Security options, including screen security, screen lock with an unlock pattern, owner info, and other things like that. We also have special options for the buttons. You can also trigger special features for them. So for example, if you do a long press on one of these navigation buttons, you can either show a menu, close an app. Each of them has these options. You can define long press time, and you can also set them up for functions in the lock screen. So if you're in the lock screen and you do a long press of the back button, you'll trigger the camera, for example. Notification light options available as well with pulses and all that. And now let's get to the apps section. I'll give you a short tour of the little amount of apps that we have pre-installed on this MIUI tablet. So it comes with its own calendar, obviously very minimalistic, allowing you to add an event like this. And it comes with an email app, a note-taking application. Some parts of it are in Chinese. You can actually make a pretty ample note. You can add shots to it, images. You can add a date and a time, change the background color if you want, and even more options available here. Add a note, delete, send, place on home screen, and create multimedia notes. We also have a games section. I'm guessing those are the same games you can find on the Play Store, nothing exactly different, but it's also in Chinese. We have the MIUI Market, where we actually got our Google installer, as you saw in the tutorial. And this tablet, as I said, does not come with Google Play Store installed, pre-installed I mean, and Google Apps, but you can install them easily with our tutorial. We have a My Cloud service, a calculator, something called Mi Credits. We also have a clock downloads and an explorer to access your file as a file manager. And then come the apps we installed ourselves: Play Store, Maps, Gmail, Play Games, Play Music, and all that. As I said, installed by us. Okay, there's no Play Store and Google Apps when you buy the tablet. Keep in mind we have a tutorial on our channel, be sure to check it out. And now some last mentions about this tablet. I have to say that although the interface is in English, some areas of it will be shown in Chinese for some reason. The tablet has no lag, but it loses the occasional frame while swiping between windows. We can also customize it the way you want it. I added the Nova launcher that recently got an update allowing it to look just like Android L, which is pretty cool. And thanks to the Nova launcher, as you can see, we have the apps area and widgets area back, and it actually seems to be a bit snappier with the Nova launcher. So if you don't like MIUI, you can switch to Nova easily, or any other options, which is something you cannot do on the iPads. And now the verdict for the tablet, pros and cons. On the pro side, obviously, the price, very good price, 300 euros for this model, or if you're in China, 240 bucks, I would say it's pretty good. Very good battery, 10 hours of HD video playback. The camera is also very good when taking pictures. The speakers are very loud, very crisp, excellent. The hardware is very powerful. As I said, the most powerful processor on Android devices right now, NVIDIA Tegra K1. The screen was good in our tests, it was satisfying. We have a very good selfie camera here, and this is where the pro aspect ends and the cons begin. I was disappointed by the video capture, a bit disappointed by the slippery case, but you can use a special case for that. And I would say that MIUI is not my cup of tea, but you can customize it. There's a slight bit of overheating, which may be another drawback, and finally the screen is a fingerprint magnet. As you can see, the cons are not that big, but the pros are very big. I'm talking about battery, price, camera, hardware, display, and selfie cam, all of them leading us to a high grade. I'm giving this model a 9.1 out of 10 for design. I'm also giving it a 10 out of 10 for hardware, because let's face it, what can you object here? You get the best CPU, best speakers, very good screen, and a very good camera. So 10 out of 10 for hardware, a 9 for operating system and user interface, and finally an extra grade, a 10 for the price. The final grade, 9.52 out of 10. For me, this is the tablet of the year, the tablet of 2014 for now, with Android on board. And what can I say? I'm an iPad man myself, but I wouldn't mind changing my iPad mini for this tablet, although frankly speaking I would rather buy the iPad mini Retina because it gets the game earlier and it doesn't have compatibility problems with the Tegra K1. So keep that in mind before you purchase the Xiaomi Mi Pad. It's still a very good tablet, probably the best tablet with Android and a small screen. As I said, 9.52 out of 10 here at tabletnews.com. Bye bye.